And good afternoon. My name is Ryan Belmore. It is Thursday, May 11th, and Mr. Frank Prosnich joins me. Frank, how are you?
Well, I'm doing quite well since my
You're doing
Orioles
better
are
than
doing
this
quite
morning.
well.
Well, this morning you were quite frozen. I think you needed a couple more cups of coffee, and now you were moving all right.
I didn't think it was coffee that I was drinking. It was single something or other.
There you go. There you go. And important conversation we are going to have today. Rhode Island General Treasurer James Diossa joins us. How are you? You just have to take yourself off mute. Hit the little microphone button there at the bottom.
Yes.
There you are.
All right. How
There
are
we
you,
go.
Ryan? How are you, Frank?
Good. How are
Doing
you?
well. How are you?
I'm well. Can I
I'm
complain?
going to start off with a point of privilege. Last time we talked, I was telling you how I had been invited to a wedding in Colombia. And
Yes.
just got back last week and went to Cartagena as well as Santa Marta and hiked to the Lost City.
My.
Beautiful country that you and your family come from. Absolutely fell in love with Colombia while I was there.
Isn't it beautiful? The culture, the food, the people.
I recommend everybody go.
It's
Everything
come a long way.
It has come a long way. Yes. So, Frank, it's all you, my friend.
Oh, there we go. Let me check with we have had an incredibly volatile stock market. The economy is unpredictable. How are our funds doing?
They're doing all right. I think that, yes, you're right. We're all concerned because of what we see every single day on the news with the markets. But overall, our fund is about $10.2 billion. It's strong. We still don't have last month's numbers, but we believe it's going to be marginally linear or marginally increased. But that's important. That's a good thing. I think overall, what I've directed my team is, we need to do an asset liability study because the markets are much more different than a year ago. And we want to make sure that we're investing in the right asset classes. And we should have that assessment by the end of the summer, early fall, and hopefully go to the State Investment Commission with any recommendations that this study may have.
Have we, since you've come into office, have we changed any of the investment managers?
No. They've all been the same. I think that for me, it was important to just do my own evaluation, my own assessments, and at some point, if we need to move in a new direction, I will. But everything is with the mentality of doing what's right for the fund.
I know it's been an issue with some past treasurers about where these investment managers are located, whether they are local or whether they are out of state. Do we know what the mix is?
I don't have that the answer for that, but I know that they all come from different places around the country, and for the most part, my assessment is they've done fairly well for the fund. Our chief investment officer is satisfied with their performance. But again, it's only been my fourth month. I've only been this has been I believe my fourth meeting with the State Investment Commission. My assessment as of today is that we need to move in the direction of just doing that asset liability study so that we know that we're investing in the right asset classes. And I think that will help determine a lot of things once that report comes back.
James, it has been 4 months, so it's probably been about 5 months since we talked to you because we talked to you right before the election. Biggest surprise? What has kind of been the shocker, or what didn't you expect, or what just surprised you about the position?
Nothing has surprised me as of yet.
Well, that's good. Everybody.
Yeah, maybe it's because I've been in politics for quite some time, and I think experience makes a difference. My time being a city councilor and mayor for 8 years, I think prepare me not only to have some good relationships with the governor, the statewide office holders, but also members of the legislature, I think has made the transition a little better. I think that the team here is incredibly good, very capable, very thoughtful. Their mission is to best serve the people of Rhode Island, which that's always a plus when you go into any organization of government. And I think that I've been very diligent about understanding the different functionalities of the office, and I've been doing that and applying every tool possible to help the experience of the people, whether it's the crime victims, whether it's the find your money, or as we call it, unclaimed property. We really want to revamp our 529 plan, but also, coming from Central Florida.
What is the 529 plan?
529 plan is where we help our kids save up for college. And so that to me is important. We all know how expensive college is getting. But not only that, this plan is flexible enough that if our kids want to do a trade, they can use that money to do that. And so that to me is important, giving them the opportunity to whether they can pick what they want to do in the future, and it doesn't have to be limited because of funds. And the other piece is financial literacy. It's critical. I think it's near and dear to my heart. It's close to my home. My partner Sandra Cano was the Senate sponsor on the Senate side when financial literacy was passed. And so it's a topic of conversation, not only in my household, but in our community. And I think for the general Rhode Island population, we want our neighbors to be financially prepared and aware. And I think that comes with good decision making that benefits all of us.
So when we talk about financial literacy, I know that there are certain, if not requirements or things that are going on in terms of our schools. What about the older population? We have a number of people who are adults out in the community, maybe involved in certain types of programs in the state. Are we doing anything to bring financial literacy to the adult population?
It's not part of the immediate plan right now, but I think eventually we're going to work our way out. I really want to get into the schools, and there's different ideas floating around about picking different school districts and just going all in with different financial institutions and really establishing a good baseline of financial education in the schools, and then move up. But you're right. There's still folks in age, older populations who are still struggling, who don't understand how to get a mortgage or a car loan, or understand really the short and long of their credit report and credit score. And I think eventually we will get there. But right now, my priority is, giving our kids the tools, because in most cases, like I did when I was young in Central Falls, I would be the source of information for my parents. And so I think that providing a good, strong foundation in our younger kids will serve us well in the meantime. Again, we're trying to chip away. And I think that the best way to do it right now is just continue with the children in our state.
So I took a look several weeks ago at financial literacy around the country, and what became really clear to me is there is no consistency from state to state and what the requirements are. And I'm not sure where we are at in terms of the state. Are we requiring schools to teach financial literacy? And is it just one course, or is it a whole program?
No, we have to teach financial literacy, and like the law says, it's mandated that every school district teaches financial literacy. Rhode is building that curriculum now. It needs to go online next year, I believe. And what we want to do is just reinforce that through different models that I've seen around the country. For example, the example I noted earlier was from a model that came from Illinois, where the treasurer's office and a financial institution or a local financial institution just took over a school or a school district and brought financial experts. They trained the teachers, they trained high school students to help get this information out to the kids at the younger grade levels. I think it's going to take years to measure this success, but I feel very strongly that this is the right direction we need to continue moving in.
I want to switch a little bit to unfunded liability and see where we are in terms of the state, whether it's a problem, and whether we know what's going on in the municipalities.
Yes, look, the unfunded liability right now for our state fund is hovering right about 60%. We're looking to get out of critical status, which is 80% at about 2031. I met with our advisors and my directors around this issue early on, and they feel strongly that we're on the right path and we need to maintain the strategy. And that is my strategy, is to stay on course so that we can get to a healthier fund for different reasons. You know, once we're at 80%, the COLAs will resume, but we'd also have a larger fund that will yield better returns. But also, you know, there isn't much demand on the taxpayer base to keeping up with the contributions of benefits. So overall, I think we're on the right course. As far as for municipalities, you know, 92 of the 122 units participating in MERS are over 80% funded, which is important, strong. And I want to continue, as a former mayor myself, reaching out to some of the communities who are still at a very low funded status. And I'm at this present time developing a concept of creating a small go team that would go out to municipalities and just offer assistance. And as you know, we have experts here, we have the capacity, and I want to share those resources. And if the conversation merits exploring moving into the state MERS system, I would welcome that immediately, because I think that it's important that we're all strong.
Do you know offhand where Newport might be with its unfunded liability?
I don't have those numbers, but I can send that over to you, Frank.
Yeah, that would be interested to take a look at those. And tell me what unfunded liability, when you're in a critical stage, what does that do? How does it impact your credit rating, either on a municipal level or on a state level?
Yeah, it's heavily noted by our rating agencies as, you know, the unfunded liability being, you know, this overall debt that you have, and that, you know, although, you know, we look at our system for the long term, right? Government's going to be operating, you know, there's no time limit for the operations of government. And so they do look at this. And, you know, I saw it in Central Falls, where when we went into bankruptcy, pension funds were cut 50%. Our bond rating was dropped to junk bond status. And we know exactly that this is what rating agencies look for. They want to see a strong fund where they're not committing all of the tax dollars in a large percentage to paying benefits, because they're saying that, you know, this is not a good practice in ensuring that there's enough flexibility in municipal budgets to cover other expenses. So we are aware of how municipalities are performing. We know the state is on the right track. We're making everyone understand where we are, and have been explaining how important it is for the state to maintain its current strategy of getting to 80% at 2031.
I may be a little vague on this, but if I recollect, you had talked at one point of providing some kind of a stipend
Yes.
to retirees, even before any COLA comes into play.
Correct. And what the message has been clear is, part of staying on course is that we don't want to do anything that impacts the general trust fund for the pensions. And so what I offered was, look, I understand retirees are feeling the squeeze, the burden, inflation, and I fully feel for them. And I think that although, you know, $500 is not enough, I think that it's something that will help provide some relief. But overall, the message is that, you know, we can give whatever amount of stipend that the legislature or the governor wants to give, but I think it has to be out of the general fund. It can't be the trust fund, because that will draw us down even more from that unfunded liability standpoint.
Is the governor and the legislature on board with that?
They are aware, and we're having multiple meetings and hearings around these topics. And I think everyone agrees that inflation, it has been a huge burden to our retirees. We all understand what they're going through, and we're looking at every possibility to create relief. But again, the market conditions drive part of that conversation, and we don't know where we'll be in a few months, so that's a concern. But we're educating and informing the legislature.
Do we know overall what the projected cost would be of the program?
Yeah, my plan would cost $15 million.
And this would just be to retirees?
Correct, state and teachers.
Have you had any feedback from any of those groups?
Of course, they really want their coals back, and they're saying that $500 is simply not enough, and I fully understand. And I was just looking at a way of relieving some of the burden, and I think that that was my priority coming in. It's still my priority, and I hope that we can get to a place where we can get a stipend out to these families who are hurting. But yes, I've had multiple conversations with the legislature, as I told you, through hearings. People know my position on the stipend, and also I know there's a lot of other bills pretty similar to what I've introduced.
And so that brings us to your legislative initiative, and I'm wondering, what are some of the things that you have proposed this year, had proposed on your behalf? And in particular, I think your staff had pointed out this Choice Act that I guess was up for hearing today.
Yes. This has been a bill that's been introduced every year for the last 5 years. It's called the Secure Choice Act. It's an important bill for the future of Rhode Island. This helps the state communicate through to small businesses with 5 employees or more, and mandate that they offer a secure savings program through a individual retirement account. And this would allow the employee to start saving, or they can opt out. This would have no cost to the business owner. The only thing that the business owner would have to do is, if you, Frank, the employee, agree to using the IRA, then all the employer would have to do is just tell their payroll to make the deduction. But there's no matching. There's no other costs associated to this. And I think it's important because AARP has said that about 200,000 people are going to retire in Rhode Island without sufficient savings. And so what does that mean? That, their quality of life is going to be impacted, and they're going to need support. And so they're going to have to come to the state for that support, which in overall, as you know, can become very expensive. But more importantly, I think this is an important message. We've seen other states like Illinois, California put forward these plans. They're having great success. And I think that we want our families in Rhode Island to be prepared for retirement and be able to enjoy it with the best quality of life and savings as possible here in our state.
So if I'm hearing it correct, this is a total employee contributory plan run by the state, and I guess invested by the state, but it's a way of employees being able to buy into some kind of a savings plan.
Correct. And what I like about it the most is just like, Frank, you can go anywhere and open your own IRA, but this would allow the employee, if they switch jobs, they can go on to another job and continue contributing if they like. So this plan follows them. And what I also like about this is that, this is creating an infrastructure for, employers who can't afford to offer retirement benefits, but also for those who are not fully aware of how to reach out to a financial institution and look at these different retirement programs. And so this sort of, again, mandates it in the sense that it puts it right in front of people's awareness. Like I said, if the business owner decides to offer their own retirement benefits, this doesn't apply to them, but also the employee gets to opt out if they don't want to save up or use this program at all. So it's very flexible, but I think that the infrastructure allows for this information to get to the employee, and then the employee, based on an informed, advice from financial experts, can make their decision on whether to move forward or not.
Other legislative initiatives that you might be looking at this year?
Yeah, we're looking at, legislation to help boost our crime victims compensation fund. We're looking to add $2 to every moving violation. And I think that what's important is that, as much as I don't want to use this fund to help victims of crime, unfortunately, the need is great. It's when you think of domestic violence, you wish it just didn't exist, but it does. And so this would help, support medical costs, mental health costs, relocation, a bunch of things that will help relieve some of the stress from a crime or an incident that may happen. And we want to continue supporting folks who have been victims, because being a former mayor, I understand the impact. I've seen it firsthand, and being able to offer this program and have the funds to support it is critical for this program to survive. And what's good is that we get 75% matching funds from the feds. And so the more dollars we put in as a state, the greater the match is.
Where do the state funds come for the program? Do these come from fines of?
Yeah, fines, court fees.
So it's no expense to the general taxpayer.
There is an allocation, but it's not a big one. But like I said, we're hoping that, and this is the other point, that because of different diversion programs in the court system, not a lot of fees are coming in, because it is what it is. The courts are using different diversion programs to deal with the different cases, and so this lessens the amount of funds that go into the crime victims compensation fund. And so we're just trying to increase it a little bit more so that we can get a better federal matching of 75%, but also help our families who are dealing with unfortunate circumstances.
Other legislative initiatives, or are those the main ones?
Those are the real main ones, outside of the $500 one-time stipend bill, the secure choice, and the crime victims. But we're really doing a good job of traveling the state and explaining the different programs that we operate in the Treasurer's office. But more importantly, which is my number one priority, is being a strong fiduciary for our fund.
I know Ryan asked you earlier about surprises. If not surprises, are there things that you have seen or that may stimulate some other proposals or changes within the Treasury?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. I think that we are feeling good of how we've started these first 4 months. I think we're growing every single day, and I'm very thankful for the people who work in Treasury, who leave it all on the line every single day for Rhode Islanders. And as you know, I will continue doing my best to connect with people around the state to ensure that they know that they have a good body of people supporting their services.
I have just one last question, and then I know you have to go. And I don't know if Ryan has any questions he wants to add. But you're representative of a couple of things that I think have happened in politics. There is I think, a growing number of Latinos who are getting involved in politics on a local and statewide level, and also a number of younger people who seem to be stepping forward to run for office. Is my perception correct, or not?
I think so. The first time I was elected to the city council, there weren't a lot of Latinos, and if they were, they weren't young. But yes, there is a wave. I think that it always helps to see other people who come from your background in office, because it just makes it more understandable, but also a good way to reach out, connect, and get advice of how to get involved. And I think you're going to see that number growing, just like we've seen the number of the Latino population growing via the last census. And I think that's a good thing for our state. Diversity is one of our strongholds. And I think that what I've learned in politics, interacting with people from different backgrounds, is I've become a better person, a better thoughtful person in many respects. And I think that that's what we need. We want folks in these types of roles to be very informed and aware of the people that we represent every single day.
Ryan, you have any last questions?
Yeah, there's a joke in there about his hopes for it to continue, the representation to continue to expand in Congressional District 1, but I'll leave that. I'll leave that one alone.
You have an endorsement, by the way? Any endorsements?
Oh, of course. I'm all in on my other half, which is Sandra Cano. And Ryan, she was born in Colombia, and the reason why she came to this country is because her father was kidnapped during those tumultuous times. And I think that her story is very powerful, and the fact that, she came to this country, went to college, got her master's degree, has a wealth of experience, but also her commitment to bettering our state and now taking it to the federal level and sharing her experience to better our country, I think is inspiring. And I don't say that just because I see her every day, but I hear it from people that I interact with every single day.
You both have fascinating stories, and it's been great to get to know them over the last couple of years. Kind of on the same page, but you will be at the State House celebrating some young leaders on Monday.
Yes. We want to continue bringing students up here, and especially around the topic of financial literacy. And we're hoping to celebrate a good cohort of kids who have been nominated, and we're going to give them the real honor of being presented with some awards. And I'm very excited to that, because I think that allows us to stay connected and speak to the next generation of leaders that hopefully all stay in Rhode Island.
Excellent. Well, we know you have a 1:30 to get to, and
Yes.
we as well, but we appreciate your time every time you join us. You're always eager and willing to jump on with us, and we appreciate your time.
Ryan, thank you. Frank, always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, James.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care.
That is Rhode Island General Treasurer James Diossa, and we thank him for joining us. Not the most fun or, dare I say, sexy topics, but it's very important.
Yeah, I thought about that too as we were going through it, and things. They're important though. Unfunded liability is hugely important. Most people don't understand it or really grasp it. It's your ability to be able to pay retirees, and if suddenly everybody retired at the end, at one time, your ability to be able to cope with that, and if you can't, then there are some huge ramifications. So it's good to talk to them about that. Financial literacy. I was surprised when I started trying to look at what other states were doing and how this was just not a slam dunk that everybody ought to be doing it. And it's not. It's not happening everywhere. I don't understand. So lots of really important issues.
And a
And,
couple of footnotes, because I didn't explain them well while I was flying through there. I brought up Columbia at the beginning because James is also from Columbia. He moved here at the age of 2. His parents were from Columbia. We've talked about Columbia in the past, which is why I brought it up. His partner, Sandra Cano, is from Columbia. She is running for Congressional District 1, which is why I made that joke about him probably hoping and cheering on for more representation in the Congressional District 1. She is one of a dozen candidates.
at least it'll be more.
At least. And finally, the last thing that I mentioned on Monday, he will be hosting the 2023 Young Leader Awards ceremony on the floor of the State House of Representatives, and it celebrates Young Leader awardees. The Young Leader Award recognizes students from around Rhode Island who have demonstrated an interest in entrepreneurship and developing the skills necessary to achieve their goals. He'll deliver remarks, present each awardee with citations. Students from all around Rhode Island. I don't have a list of students, so there could be students in your town. You'll just have to wait until Monday.
There you go.
All right, Mr. Prosnitz.
Thank you, Ryan.
And we will do this again real soon.
Yep.
We will do this. Let's see here. Well, we'll get some stuff on the schedule. I thought we had something else, but it's already Thursday. So, yeah.
I think we're done for the week, but done for the week with videocast, not done for the week for sure.
That's it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of Frank Prosnitz, myself, all of us here at WhatsUpNewp, we want to thank you for watching. And we want to thank General Treasurer James Diossa for joining us today. If you missed any portion of this interview, want to rewatch it, share it, all available on WhatsUpNewp.com. Thanks for watching.